when you come from that abundance mindset, the possibilities are literally limitless. Think about it. You, as you're looking to do a commercial deal, if you just focus on talking to nobody and just looking every day for a deal, how much closer is that going to get you to a deal than if you spoke to everybody about what you're looking to do and you said, let's do deals together?
Welcome to the I Own It podcast with Ben Reinberg.
All right, we're live in Laguna Beach, California with another great guest on the Ben Reinberg I Own It show. I love about when guests come on or when they are in real estate, because you know what my passion is, commercial real estate, which gets me all hot and bothered. But anyways, this gentleman is a real interesting story, and we'll welcome him on the show. Dean Rogers, welcome to the I Own It show. You own it, and that's why we wanted you on the show. So thank you for joining us today, and really appreciate your time.
Of course, man. Thanks for having me, Ben. I'm stoked. I'm excited. If anything gets me hot and bothered, it's real estate too. So we're both in the right place. Excited to get into it.
All right. Well, let's get into it then. So before entering real estate, you played in the NFL.
Yep.
What inspired you to walk away from the NFL? And at the time when you walked away, did you know that real estate was in your future?
Had no idea. Yeah, what inspired me was life, living on this planet longer than I would have if I kept playing. Dude, so, I mean, the NFL, as you can imagine, to get to that level is insane. And when you're there, it's surreal. It's insane when you're there, but it's also surreal because out of nowhere, immediately, you're now friends and peers and just having small chit chat like you and I are right now with the Phillip Rivers and Antonio Gates and those kind of guys. And they're just boys, you know, they're just homies in the locker room, just shooting the crap. And so that was what was so surreal is overnight, you're sitting next to these people, changing right next to them in the locker room and catching passes and all that kind of stuff from Phillip Rivers. I mean, it's crazy. And everything that comes with the NFL with, you know, the fame and people, I mean, came from a small college. I wasn't some big first round draft pick, second coming of Jesus. So it's not like I was already in the news and ESPN all the time, but overnight, now I'm somebody important that, you know, fans are screaming, wanting to get your autograph. They're following you to your car just to watch you drive away. Like that happens overnight. And so, you know, supermodels walking through the hotel rooms, all of a sudden talking to you, like it's pretty crazy stuff. So you could see how it could be pretty hard to walk away from that. But, you know, my story with that is my career, as short as it was really fulfilling because I played tight end in college and was being looked at by a handful of different teams as tight end or fullback. And the Chargers were the ones that ended up giving me the call. And so Norv Turner moved me from tight end to fullback and was playing great and feeling great. And Norv Turner telling me, not once, not in a whisper, not as in a maybe, but like several times, like, dude, you're going to have a long career. And that was like mind blowing to me. I mean, I felt like I was playing good, but to actually hear it from somebody who's seen, you know, thousands of players and many seasons, like that was pretty huge. But I was immediately feeling the impacts of hitting my head the way I was at fullback. It's just a different type of collision. I mean, at tight end, I was, you know, blocking big, massive defensive ends and blocking linebackers, but generally, like you're a couple yards away. At fullback, it's like we're 10 yards away, 15 yards away. We're going to run as fast as we can. We're going to try to kill each other. We're not going to go around each other. We're going to try to run through each other. And we're running through the big linemen. So a lot of times those were head-on collisions with, Hall of Famer players and Pro Bowlers and just big, massive humans. And I was feeling it in the head, man.
I'm sure. I mean,
just,
I'm a Chicago Bears fan, being from Chicago originally. I live in California now. And Matt Suey, who lived fairly close to me, he used to block for Walter Payton, who is a legend not only in the NFL but also in Chicago. He was an icon and just an incredible player. But Matt would have to block for him, and just the abuse he would take, and on his knees and his head and his shoulders is just. It's a really tough position when you have to block because you're such a key component to that running back success.
Yeah. And, it was an experience I'll never forget. It was so much fun, but I just knew right then and there, with the level of hits on the head, I just knew, like, okay, even though I've got the dream in this one hand, if I keep living that dream out, it's going to be a short life, man. And what am I going to look like when things are done? I'd see the vets walking around, coming to games, coming to practice, and some of them were like, you could see just nothing in their eyes, right? You could see that they were kind of missing something. And Junior Seau killed himself that year. And ESPN was, for the first time since I was playing football, started talking about concussions and CTE. I don't know, man. It just woke me up. And I just knew in my heart that I wanted every part of it to just stay in it and keep playing. But there was just something calling me to say, dude, you gotta walk away. And that's what I did, man. I didn't look back.
We had Lee Steinberg on the show recently. You probably know who Lee is. And one of the largest sports agents in the NFL. And he started a foundation, and he used to talk about with his clients, because he represented all the top NFL quarterbacks for years. He still does. He represents Pat Mahomes now and Tua. And he said the hardest sport for him to have clients is football, because of all the head injuries. So he took the initiative and he started a foundation specifically for those type of injuries, which is pretty incredible. Wow. So did you know that real estate was in your future, or was this like an aha moment, like, okay, I'm out of the league. Oh shit, I gotta do something. I'm not done.
Yeah. Had no idea, but I mean, if you think about it, I pretty much had to start all over, Did I have any real world skills besides being an athlete? No. I was still young at the time, so it's not like I even had, call it, real world experience. I was a year out of college and now starting to play in the NFL. So everything had been sheltered in my life to that point. Being where I'm at now and living life as an entrepreneur, even more so, it's like intensified. I know what life looks like now, right? And I know what it takes to be successful and reach success. And so to start, I don't want to use the term rock bottom, because it's not like I was in like despair. It's not like I was in financial ruin or anything, but I had to start all over. And I was fortunate to have a college buddy I played football with, and he knew I was done playing. He hit me up right away, said, "Hey, I know you're done playing. What are you doing now?" And I said, "Well, I'm not sure yet." He said, "Dude, I'm working at this tech company up in San Francisco. Like, I can get you in the door. It's, got this going on. It's like, dude, when I thought about life after football, this pretty much checks the boxes. I'm in, set me up. So he literally walked me past all the red tape that the big corporate companies have, with weeks and months of interviews and all this rigorous process. Literally walked me in the door, one interview, tell me if you want the job, got it. So like, that was a godsend. But it was going from a 7-figure NFL contract to a $65,000 salary in the San Francisco Bay Area.
Welcome
Again,
to the real world, Dean.
Welcome to the real world. And, I'm starting all over, I'm entry-level position, but I always, when I tell the story, I always laugh because it was so easy. Like, think about, I was built for war, like mentally, physically. I could handle, and still to this day, like stressful situations when people freak out and panic, I get focused as hell. Like, I'm ready.
That's
You got
fantastic.
60, 80,000 fans screaming at you, wanting you to fail, and you've got a big pressure moment. Like, I'm built for this, So like going into commuting into work and working at a desk, it was like laughable how easy it was. And I was still built for, going to war every day. So my body physically and mentally was prepared. So I just would laugh how easy it was. But at the same time, like, I was entry level, didn't really have the skills to get paid the big bucks. But I expected, with the effort I put into it, after the first year, like, they're going to recognize the talent. They're going to start paying me at least six figures. After the first year, my big salary increase was $2,000, 67 grand. And I about crapped my pants and was like, dude, this is not going to get me back to that dream lifestyle. This is not going to allow me to, live abundance and be able to live life on my terms. This is not going to work. So I got right to Google. Remember, got back to my studio, got right back to Google and typed in how to get started in real estate. Now, the couple things that stuck out in my head as to why to Google that, because I thought to myself, I got to do something, got to take something into my own hands. And I remember watching Love It or List It with my parents on the couch at home as a teenager. I remember late night Dean Graciosi infomercials when I was like on the edge of my seat, almost buying it as a teenager. So it's just the first thing that popped into my head. I literally was blank. I had nothing else that I could think of. So, how to get started in real estate. I found a free podcast.
Mm-hmm.
It was Sean Terry, Flip to Freedom podcast. And I was hooked, like obsessed. And I was like, this is it.
So on the surface, okay, football investing feel like different skill sets, but I'm wondering if you see it that way, because there's aspects of your football career that must carry over to the real estate profession. What are some of those things that you see that you're like, I'm grateful for playing in the NFL because it's allowed me to transfer this skill set into what I do now for professionally?
Yeah. So there's two things. There's the environment and then there's the skills. So I think the environment is similar. There's definitely differences, but think about this. Like, when you get into the investing, sure, you're going to have plenty of mom and pops, but depending upon what city you're in, what type of investing you're doing, especially commercial, when you start talking about commercial, this isn't a playground. This isn't recess where you're just, playing tag and having fun. Like, this is big boy stuff. This is big boy money. And there's big players. When you get to the NFL, like, talk about competitive alpha male. Everybody's an alpha male. Everybody's trying to piss all over the place and talk about how they're the biggest and baddest, even with their own team. Like, yo, I'm the top dog here, right? And so when you're in practice and you're playing against each other, and I pancaked Larry English, a long veteran, very well established and recognized in the league. Like Donald Driver, the starting middle linebackers, like starting shit in the locker room. Like, yo, I heard Dean said he pancaked your ass and was talking shit and like going on. I'm like, I didn't say anything, man. Like, don't even try to start that. I'm not saying anything. Like, I'm just playing. So like that is similar in the real estate environment. Now I will say, if you take a step back, like, I personally have tried and I'd like to say successfully built a very collaborative environment in my market of Central California where I invest. I live in San Diego, but I invest in Central California where I grew up. We highly promote a collaborative. It's not a, I'm getting the deal and you're not type of environment. But as someone fresh out, hitting the streets, getting into the world of an entrepreneur, let alone real estate, most environments are very competitive. And so I'd say that in itself, having been in that environment, I'm comfortable with it. Right. And I have always been the person, at least the way I played was, I like to talk. When I'm playing the game, I like to talk. I like to get fired up, especially if you get me playing basketball. I'll get talking, which is what I like to do now, play pickleball. But when I'd rather show you than talk. I've been around a lot of talkers that are just running their mouth and they're this and that. They're going to, they're going to shut you down. They're going to blow you up, whatever it is, if you're, playing football. But I like to show people and show them what I got and let the results speak for themselves. So I like to do that in my real estate business too, almost to a fault. I mean, the first 5 years in the business, I was the Wizard of Oz. Almost nobody knew me. I was the man behind the curtains. Like no one had really seen me. They kind of heard of me, but I'm doing these deals because I was so heads down. Like I'm focused on me. I'm not focused on trying to talk to other people. I realized I actually missed an opportunity of networking. I mean, that's all I promote now is like, let's work together. Let's do deals together. And that, once I did that, really blew up the business. But the other part, the skill, I'd say the biggest carryover was the discipline. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say I've got the miracle morning all dialed in and I've got all these routines perfectly dialed in. I joke that I've got the reality TV show at my house going on because there's kids crying and, I've got one kid in my hand while I'm sending out a DocuSign for a deal. And like, it's kind of comical, but it's my like unrelenting focus on growth. I'm going to get better. I'm going to continue winning. I'm not going to have a bad day and sit and be sad about it. Like things happen. There's ups and downs emotionally every day for an entrepreneur. Every single day you go through ups and downs. Today we had, or yesterday we had 3 deals closed for $133,500. During that day, I had emotional up and downs. I should just be like, running in the street naked in excitement, but I have emotional ups and downs in that one day because of, things going on. But I would say the biggest carryover is like, dude, you have to be prepared and mentally and physically practice to be able to, go through an entire season of any sport, especially at a professional level, because mentally, you're spending sun up till sundown, studying film, practicing. Like I said, you're in the intense environment of pressure, not only from your own team, coaches, the media, the fans, all that kind of stuff, friends and family. I'll never forget the first day I got called by the Chargers and showed up and it hit the news. Somehow I was smart enough to turn off my phone just to like cut out distractions. But when I turned my phone back on, it rang like, no, it didn't ring. It was vibrating from notifications for 30 minutes straight from like the hundreds and hundreds of messages from people. Right. So I think it's like being in those environments transitioned well over to be able to stay focused and just continuously focus on, think about it. When you're playing a sport, you have to practice and you might think, and like when it comes to weightlifting and it comes to running the plays, like you are just running those plays over and over and over again so that when you get in the game, it's easy. Right. And so it's the same thing when it comes to running your business and real estate is you just got to put in the work, man. And when it's game time, you're ready to go. And to no surprise, you get the result you're looking for.
Yeah. Discipline is everything in real estate, especially in commercial real estate with my company Alliance. Showing up and discipline and commitment and persistence is really such key variables when it comes to success. I love your coaching videos. You have a very easy to understand, authentic way about you. And a line in your explainer video, which really caught my attention, I wanted to ask you about. You talk about winning together and how it's fun to do that. Does this come from your team sports background? And can you go deeper into how you win together in real estate and what brings you so much satisfaction?
Yeah, without question, my favorite deals to do are with other people. And it just comes down to the fact that together you can be stronger, you can accomplish more. And so when you come from that abundance mindset, the possibilities are literally limitless. Think about it. You, as you're looking to do a commercial deal, if you just focus on talking to nobody and just looking every day for a deal, how much closer is that going to get you to a deal than if you spoke to everybody about what you're looking to do and you said, let's do deals together. So when I came to this realization that I wanted to meet with more people, wanted to do more deals with people, I started a meetup, real estate meetup in my market, February of 2020, and had 100 people show up, great turnout, great energy about it. March 2020, have my next monthly meetup ready to go. And literally days before the world shuts down. And so my journey through that was, feeling defeated for a second, but not even like really being phased. What's next? How do I overcome this? Being a problem solver. And so I wasn't really big on social media yet, but I figured that's the only way I can continue to connect with people. So I started sharing my journey. Starts with sharing your journey and sharing what you're doing. And I was talking about what was helping me to be successful and keep our business going. Then I started sharing results. I mean, people like to see results. They like to see people winning. They want to get around that energy. So I started sharing wins. And then I started a call to action like, hey guys, if you need help, I want to help you through your deals. And we'll pretty much do all the work. Like if you bring a deal to us and you just qualify that the seller wants to sell their house, our team will do everything. We'll call the seller, we'll negotiate the deal, we'll go on the appointments. If we're wholesaling the deal, we'll sell it to the cash buyer paying top dollar. If we're flipping it, we'll put all the financing together. We'll use our contractors. We'll close the deal. We'll handle the whole escrow process. You'll get 50% of the profit for just showing up, bringing a little bit of value of a qualified lead. We'll do the rest. We just want to win, and we want you to get so much value back from us that you want to do more and more and more deals. And we quickly scaled that to doing $1 million in business, just doing deals with other people in 1 year, let alone the business we had of our own paid marketing and the own leads that we had. And I kept sending messages saying, I love sending friends money. Like it's so much fun that I ended up thinking, well, what if I like try to brand this? So I called it our Friends with Benefits program. Right now you're in the friend zone. We haven't really done a deal yet, but hey, once we do deals, like, hey, this is Friends with Benefits now. Like, yes, this is cool.
You get intimate. I love that.
And so we have T-shirts, say Friends with Benefits on it. They get, a company hat and a company Yeti mug. And like people are sending me messages like, hey, I want to get that shirt, like I'm a size large or extra large, and they're like wanting to get it. So it's made it really fun.
That's great. So you describe real estate coaching as your passion project. And when was it that you realized you wanted to coach people on real estate?
It was by going through that whole experience. So that kind of like set the stage for helping guide people to doing these deals and making life-changing money. I mean, some of these people that literally had no idea how to do deals, we were now coming in and helping put the deal together, negotiate the best deal, get it to the finish line with our experience. And now they're making 50% of the profit, and they're putting 20 grand, 30, 40 grand, 60 grand in their pocket when they would have potentially fumbled the deal, right? They would have maybe messed it up without the experience. And I think going through that and seeing that by just with our experience and letting people know about it, that we could transform some of those people's lives, their trajectories, that really just gave me so much passion and belief behind helping other people to where I said, all right, I could see it. And then I had some good friends around me that were like, dude, why aren't you doing coaching? You got to do coaching. You do great at it. And so I had some good friends push me off the ledge and just haven't looked back. And and it's been equally as rewarding, man. I mean, it's pretty incredible I mean, you know what works, but at the same time, you can't help but wonder, is it going to work for somebody else? But to see it work for other people, to see them have those breakthrough moments, it's just been incredible. So I think it's been really rewarding. And really the mission behind the coaching program is to help as many people as possible and to build a community of people that are just lifting each other up. And I mean, if you've looked at any good, successful coaching program, usually they have a really strong community. So that's my goal, is to really build that community, because then those relationships are what's going to help carry those people on to, more success in their business.
So who are your coaching mentors in life from football and real estate? I mean, what did they teach you that means the most to you, since you enjoy mentoring people? What type of coach will you be to your mentees?
Yeah. I lead from inspiration, because I think people who've inspired me have always been good. People that are disciplined hold you accountable, right? Because at the end of the day, like when you're in the football film room, every step you take, and I'm not joking, I mean every step you took. If you're, if I was a tight end, the way that I got off the ball, where did my hands immediately go? Where was my first initial step? Was it 6 inches? Was it 12 inches? Was it a 45 degrees angle? Was it a 60-degree angle? That's the wrong step. The very first thing you did was wrong, right? It's down to that level of detail. So I think that the inspiration to motivate you, the discipline and holding you accountable, and then really fighting for you, being in your corner to help you be successful is so important. Because if you have a coach who's just giving you some rah-rah, telling you what you're doing wrong, but they're not really in the trenches with you, genuinely trying to help you forward, then you're going to get some little moments of inspiration. You're going to get some maybe some hard feedback. But if they're not there in the trenches with you, looking for you to be successful, then that's the missing piece right there. I know, looking back in, college, NFL, like the coaches that helped me the most were ones that were taking the extra time to sit there with you and really focus on, this is how you do this, right? And talking to you until the point where it really clicked in your head, right? Because if you're just kind of spitting some information out and some feedback, it might go over your head a little bit until you learn it the way you need to, until you say it enough times until it really clicks. So I think, I've had similar experiences with certain real estate mentors over the years to where it's really helped something click. And it could have been the way that they spoke, the way that they inspired, the way that they provided information that really just clicked to me and really triggered me to feel like, okay, I can do this. And this is the information I needed, the inspiration I needed to push through and make it happen.
So you've grown your investment portfolio and you're doing over 100 deals a year, rental income, 10 million plus. Share more about your portfolio investment strategies and how do you manage your tenants?
Yeah. So my strategy has all been single family homes. So I do have some duplexes and triplexes, fourplexes, a sixplex, but primarily just single family homes. And for me, it was because that was the easiest starting place, was single family homes. When I started real estate, when I was done playing football and I moved up to San Francisco Bay Area, and I found that Sean Terry Flip to Freedom podcast, he was talking about single family homes, right? And when I looked around me in San Francisco, I was like, dude, these houses, that little, crap hole right there, that's $1.5 million teardown. Like, I didn't understand it. It was overwhelming to me. And so I went to what was home, Central California. The houses are very simple and easy to understand. These houses were all built in the 50s. These were all built in the 60s and 70s, and they all look very similar and alike. They're all below the median national price point. It's pretty simple to me. Like, it's not really rocket science. So that was easy for me to grasp. And that's where I've continued to focus because, I mean, my journey's been ups and downs, like I'm sure most, where I've made some big mistakes along the way and had to crawl myself back out. And I think that's for a lot of entrepreneurs, that's the reality. And I think the ones that make success are the ones that just ultimately don't give up because you're going to get the crap beat out of you. And I've spoken to some people where, they just don't have any blemishes on their track record and haven't made mistakes. And it's been nothing but gravy. But dude, I've had some big knockdowns and had to fight and overcome those. And single family has been the main thing that I've known and had success in and been able to systemize, repeat, scale. And I'm a deal junkie. I just love deals. So, I mean, month of January, 15 deals, month of February, 12 deals, and just love doing deals. And so, I think that single family has been where I focus. Now, I will say that I'm being teased to the point of wanting to go all in on self-storage. I have some buddies that are in self-storage and own it and seen them do very well. The catch on the tagline on that is, it's like multifamily, but without having to deal with plugged toilets and deal with annoying tenants, right? But yeah, I'm very, very much interested. Been stacking some chips on the sideline to be able to go in on storage. So I'm right there ready to go. And the portfolio, like I said, single family, that's what it's pretty much consists of, is your normal single family house and the duplexes, triplexes, fourplexes, and sixplexes.
So, first of all, I will tell you wholeheartedly, being in commercial real estate for almost 3 decades, not every deal is going to be perfect. You're going to go in, things change, interest rates change, environments change, ordinances in certain communities change, especially in residential real estate, which is a different animal than I'm in. I understand it. But there's always going to be challenges. When you're in real estate, there's always things that just happen that you can't control. And it's about, how do you deal with it? Like you said, you can transfer over how you dealt with stress when you're in the NFL. How you deal with things and how you balance your emotions will have a huge impact how you deal with real estate. You have to be solution oriented. If you can focus on the solutions, for everyone out there, focus on the solutions, not the problem, you'll see great success. And it's why I've gotten heavily into personal development to become the best version of myself, is because in real estate, you gain so many scars. In football, you might get hit and battled, but in commercial real estate and in real estate, you're going to have scars. Things go wrong. Maybe things aren't as great. You have a tenant move out. You have to evict a tenant. There's all things that happen in life, and it's how you deal with it. And it's your mindset and your perception. And if you can control that, you'll be wildly successful. So I noticed on LinkedIn that you work at Workday, and that surprised me a little bit. Given the size of your real estate portfolio, why do you keep your day job?
Yeah, so I got to update that. But that whole story, I mean, it was just an incredible launching pad. And that's going back to my buddy who got me in there, right? And so I do give a large amount of my success credit to the fact that I had that stable foundation, and for me, there was a lot of great things that I learned from that corporate environment in terms of, how do you create a good company culture, right? How do you inspire people to get results in a company? It's one thing to do it on the field. Like, you can inspire by showing and doing, but I mean, I dealt with the challenge of being virtual, right? I'm not in an office environment with my team to where I can inspire and motivate them by showing the hard work and being in the trenches, as much as I have to kind of lead them from a different way, right? So I love the experiences that I've had there. And for me, I kind of held on to it for so long because it just made sense. It was just easy. I had my team in a place like the early days, right? And I think this probably relates to a lot of people because a lot of people are currently doing real estate as a side hustle, right? And they've got a day job. And so for me, every second I had when I typed in how to get started in real estate, it was, on my commute to work, I was listening and taking in information or setting up and taking action on different marketing strategies. And then I was, in between lunch, calling back sellers who might have called me from some of my campaigns or checking in to see what the progress is on a particular deal or whatever. And then on the commute back home, and when I got home, was doing the same thing, continuing my education, taking in information, taking action, putting in offers on properties. And that's the way it was. And I think after a certain period of time, I got to the point where I got my team, right? It stopped becoming a side hustle. I got my team, I scaled to doing enough deals. And then I asked myself, well, should I just walk away, or do I have it balanced enough to where I can still manage everything? My team still hits the goals, still gets the revenue. And I'm still able to keep this going. Do I have it balanced out enough? And the answer was yes. And it was enough money to not walk away from based on the level of time commitment and effort. So, I mean, it's been an incredible blessing. Yeah, that's
are you
what it's been.
capitalizing your deals with your own money and getting loans and putting debt on it, or how are you organizing the capital stack for your single family homes?
Yeah, almost all the deals, except for now just a couple, have been 100% other people's money. I mean, I don't know if there's a better way to do it. I mean, I'd like to say I have, $1 billion and I can buy every property with my own money. But even the people who are billionaires, and I'm sure there's some exceptions, are typically using other people's money. It's just the one. It's like it's whatever the right number is. It's like the seventh or eighth wonder of the world now. I mean, the ability to leverage other people's money correctly on assets, structured correctly on assets, is just incredible, because essentially your return can be infinite. Most of my deals have been bought with zero money into the deal. And most of my rental properties that I own that are going to be continued wealth building, generational wealth, they'll probably double or triple in value by the time I, am of retirement age. Not that I won't retire sooner than that, but of retirement standard age, which is, doubling my age now. Like, it could be worth 3 times the amount and just paid off. And I've had, in most of those deals, for the exception of a couple of my rentals also, I've had no money. Now, is there maintenance and different stuff like that? Yes. And most of those maintenance things have been paid by the income from the rent, but I call them free deals. I mean, a lot of these rentals, I buy them at such good prices because we've got a marketing engine that we're doing these, transactional flips or wholesale deals. And we'll get some of these deals that are so good, we'll remodel them using other people's money. We'll refinance them using other people's money. And now we'll have a long-term loan, 30-year fixed loan in place. Tenants that are paying down, I mean, all the benefits, but tenants that are paying down your principal, you get all your depreciation, you get your equity increase of value there. It's just, there's so many benefits, and I've had, zero money. So the return is basically infinite,
So the name of the show is I Own It. It's being responsible for everything in your life. And we are all works in progress. Do you have a recent example when you realized you had it wrong and you didn't own it fully?
Yeah. Besides, I mean, I've got a laundry list of things. And I think the more I've matured, I love the name I Own It. And in that context, because I think one thing that's really helped me in my business is owning my mistakes. And I think you can only grow by doing that, right?
That's
If you just blame someone else for the mistakes that you made, right?
Right.
The $187,000 net loss that I had from somebody who intentionally, wolf in sheep's clothing, didn't find out until the house of cards fell after, unfortunately, I invested in the deal, had taken millions of dollars of people's money. I mean, we're talking, this is in the news, becomes a big story after the fact, but me lose $187,000 in a deal that someone basically took my money and lost that amount. It's my fault. They did the wrong, but it's my fault no one made me do it. There wasn't a gun to my head to do that deal. I made the choice, and I did zero due diligence on that person, on the deal, to the extent that was necessary. And I knew better. It was my fault, right? And I think something recent, fresh, that I've taken ownership on as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, is taking ownership for the success of your team, right? My team is having success. We're doing good, but taking ownership of, like, it is your responsibility as the leader to lead and to lead well. Your team will only do well as you lead. You can't expect them to go above and beyond to train themselves and to put themselves in the best position for their success and your success as the business owner. And it's typically the business owner that does stay up till midnight trying to learn and do everything, but you can't expect your team to do that. It is your job to provide them with the resources, with the proper training and all of that. So that's been a huge area for me to, continue my growth as a business owner. And it's been good to identify that and work on it and communicate that openly with the team and get really good feedback,
Yeah, that's the right way to handle it. And in my company, we have a saying, no drama, no excuses. And you just have to own it. And all of us make mistakes, and you learn from them. That's how you grow. And when you could look inside and say, yeah, I own that decision. I made that decision to invest. I made that choice to handle it a certain way. And when you could look within, that's where you get great growth. And you know what? You become a better leader, a better listener. You build deeper rooted relationships with the people you do business with, as well as your team. And it's the best way to do it. And I agree with you. Keep doing that, because you'll see benefits of looking at yourself and laugh at yourself and say, oh man, I can't believe I did that, or that was stupid, and not beating yourself up, but using it to empower, to create an empowering story that you can walk into. And that's what's really important. And real estate will test you. Okay. It'll bring you to the edge of the cliff, and you'll question when I say your manhood, who you really are as a person. And my advice to you and anyone out there is continue to work on yourself. Continue to become the best version of yourself. Because you don't want to get triggered during emotional settings when things don't go well. You want to have a clear mind. And when you have a clear mind, you can make great decisions. And that's what it's about, is being a great decision maker. And so what is the best way to follow you, Dean?
Best way is if you go to deanrogers.com, you'll see a connect button towards the top. All my social stuff is on there. As you might be able to see on the live stream if you're watching it back. My Instagram handle is @DeanRogersRealEstate. On YouTube, you can go to youtube.com/Dean Rogers. And I always tell people, like, if you're listening to this, don't even hesitate to reach out. Reach out, because by us connecting, there's new opportunity. It doesn't immediately mean something's going to come of it, but not necessarily, but something could come of it either now or in the future. And the more people you connect with, the more opportunities there is. I could not believe that because more than anybody else, because I've seen it come to fruition over and over. So make sure to reach out, make sure to connect, make sure to say hi, make sure to say, hey, I heard you on the I Own It podcast. Would love to connect with you and stay in touch.
Yeah, the more hands you shake, the more money you make. It's just the way life works. And I totally agree with that. So we're going to wrap up with our 3 questions. All right. You ready? So
I'm ready.
First of all, you're willing to come next time you got to come to Laguna Beach and come in the studio. If you're in the studio with me, we have a couch. And I would say, Dean, get on the couch, close your eyes. You're now what, mid-30s? How old are you?
35.
35. Okay. So you're young, spry 35. And you close your eyes and I said, Dean, you've been in the NFL, you've grinded, you're now in the real world, in real estate, you're expanding, you're having great success. If you can go back to when you're 16 years old and give yourself advice, what would you tell yourself today, being the man that you are now?
Yeah. So I'd even put it in the context of my now 7-year-old when he's 16, like what I'm going to do for him is I'm going to grab him by the hand, by the shoulder, and I'm going to walk him into as many rooms as possible that are the real world rooms, right? School's good for maturity, but it's not the information or level of maturity that you need for the real world.
That's right.
And so going back to myself, I'd say keep playing sports, because I think that did amazing things for me, to give me confidence, to give me, authority. I mean, it just did so much for my own personal identity, especially during that time, that was incredible for me. So being in those competitive environments are good. So it'd be sports, right? Keep doing that. But it would be to like, hey, we need to get you into meeting as many people, networking, going to personal development events, doing all these kind of things, and to learn the right type of skills that are going to help you in life. And I think that's one of the biggest things I want to do for my kids is have specific coaching, training sessions that are like, this is how the world works, right? I was just talking to my kids in the car with their big bright eyes on the way to the park yesterday about credit cards. And we were talking about how the right way to use credit cards, and I could see their eyes getting big, and they had their eyes were, or their mind was spinning, and they had questions. And I'm like, these are the conversations. My parents were entrepreneurs. They were smart, but we never talked about money, and it might've been intentional. They didn't want me to think about money, but my kids earn every dollar they make. And so anyways, that's what I would do.
A lot of time when the parents don't talk to the kids about money, because usually they don't really understand money as well as they want. So it's hard.
A lot. Yep.
We see that a lot. So it's our last day on earth. God forbid. It's just me and you. And it's our last meal together. Your choice. What are we eating and what are we drinking? It could be anything.
Boy. I'll start with the drinking. So I don't drink alcohol. Believe me, I've been to enough parties where they've tried to get me to do everything. Now I will say I've been drunk a handful of times in my life, but that's it. And so I don't drink. It'd be like a green smoothie or a green drink or something like that, something that makes you feel good. And so that's what I'd be drinking. What would I eat? I love Japanese food. So I'd be crushing some sushi. Me and the wife were just talking about teppanyaki. We might be crushing some teppanyaki. Do like myself some good baby back ribs. It's been a while since I've had some, but I've had many a days with barbecue sauce all over my face, and I'll leave it there for the whole day just to relish in it. So I think those would be top of the list.
Nice. Was there a favorite NFL city that you'd like to eat in? Was there like one that, obviously Chicago's amazing and New York's good.
Such a cool city. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, both of those cities are definitely incredible. I didn't have sushi there. Like it was, most of the meals when you're playing are brought to you. So, you literally have filet steak, filet mignon, and all that kind of stuff, like brought to you. Chefs are making it. But for me at least, I didn't have many meals out, so I can't speak to. I've had great meals in Chicago and New York and all those places, but.
So in our studio, we have a grand piano, drum set, and 6 electric guitars. If you're in studio with me, if you could bring in any band or musician, they could be living or deceased, who would you have play us a song, and what would they play us?
All right. So hands down, without question, it's going to be Metallica. I'm going to bring in the whole band.
Ooh. Yeah.
Metallica.
You pick Metallica. I love Metallica. And what are they playing
for? So I got a couple fun stories around Metallica. So first of all, Metallica was always, since high school days, my pregame ritual. Back to high school when I had the disc player where I put the CD in it and I had my headphones and it was the one disc. I found Led Zeppelin and Metallica DVD. I mean, they would make basically like a movie of their songs back in those days that my dad had, and I would watch both of those over and over and over and over. And Metallica became my favorite band. So Metallica then became my pregame ritual for every football game. And I've been to a couple Metallica concerts. One of them was the San Francisco Symphony, S&M 2. Went with my best friend. We had nosebleed seats, and at the last minute, we bought 2 tickets, fourth row from on the ground level. And while we were there, bought them and ran down. And then we were like, literally with, partial owners of Golden State Warriors and the contractor who built the Chase Center. Like it was an experience of a lifetime. But and now my fourth baby, my newest son, one of the ways that I put him to bed is blasting Metallica through the house, and he'll just pass out like a baby. It's pretty hilarious.
That's unique. I've never heard of that.
It's super unique, but
is there a certain song that you gravitate to that you'd have him play in studio with me?
So you'd have your normal go-to songs, but there's some of the songs that I love are actually ones without words because they like tell a story with, and I got it up here on my favorites. One is Orion. I don't know if you've ever heard of that one. It has no words. It's just a jam sesh. Call of Cthulhu is another one. No words. That one I used to, it's like a 12-minute song. I used to listen to the San Francisco Symphony one right before every game. That was my song. Call of Cthulhu. I would just get in a trance and I'm ready to rip someone to shreds. But all the other stuff is good too. And that would be epic.
Yeah, they're definitely one of my favorite bands to work out to when I'm not training with my trainer.
What I love about them is they're metal, they're heavy metal, but they're not too heavy, right?
Right.
Anybody can listen to them.
Right.
And so, I just Metallica all the way.
Nice. Well, Dean Rogers, thank you for joining us. What a treat to talk real estate and have you share your story with everyone. If you are interested, everyone, in learning more about our incredible guests that come on the show, kick that right-hand button on YouTube and click subscribe. Feel free to keep clicking the like button so we can share information and content just like Dean provided us to the whole world and get it out to more people. So the more likes we get, the more content and knowledge we could share with all of you. Also, if you want to learn more about me, go to benreinberg.com. You can follow me on all social media platforms, and I will be teaching commercial real estate around the country shortly as well. Feel free to follow us at my company website, alliancecgc.com, for all your commercial real estate needs. We just launched a brand new fund called the Alliance Medical Property Fund. Feel free, if you're interested in investing, follow us, log on, and we'll be happy to connect with you. Dean Rogers, what a pleasure. Thank you for coming on the I Own It show, and I look forward to seeing you soon.
Thanks for having me, man. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for listening to the I Own It podcast with Ben Reinberg. To hear our past episodes and connect with Ben, visit benreinberg.com.